Kelsey Plum opened her mouth on live TV and somehow managed to embarrass herself, expose the WNBA Players Union's lies, and hand Caitlin Clark another W, all in one sentence. And then Sabrina Ionescu finished her off with 5 words and an eye roll so powerful it should have had its own SportsCenter segment. Here's where it gets interesting. While Plum was busy playing hall monitor, Clark is going on live TV and telling the country a deal will get done. One of them is building the sport. The other is out here tattletaling. Let's talk about how badly this went for the jealous veterans, and why 2026 is already Clark's. Let me know down in the comments below why you think Kelsey Plum is so jealous of Caitlin.
Kelsey Dumb strikes again.
Just united front was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just we had a very that really needed to be mentioned.
That was ridiculous. That was childish, and Sabrina had to let it be known. Yeah, I don't really think that was necessary. She trying to laugh it off, but Sabrina's not feeling you saying that.
Picture this. It's All-Star Weekend, cameras everywhere, and Kelsey Plum gets the mic. And what does she do with it? She decides to talk about who was and wasn't wearing a t-shirt on live TV in front of everyone. Players showed up to All-Star Weekend wearing "Pay Us What You Owe Us" shirts as part of the CBA push. And honestly, it was a smart move. It got the message out, it made headlines, people were talking about it. The shirt thing worked. So far, so good.
Y'all need media training, bro. Like, I hate to see y'all really need media training. This was so unnecessary. And then you gonna take shots after that trash game y'all displayed?
But then Plum opens her mouth, and this is a real quote. She said, "Not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that." That's it. That's what she chose to say. On live TV at an All-Star event about her own teammates. Think about what she actually did there. The whole point of the shirts was to push for better pay for players. It was supposed to be a union moment, a we're all in this together moment. And Plum took that moment and used it to call out Caitlin Clark. She turned a labor message into a hall monitor complaint in front of a live audience.
Now, Sabrina Ionescu quickly, swiftly, and in a hurry kind of tried to stop Kelsey Plum from taking these little shots, but she didn't care.
And the room felt it immediately. Sabrina Ionescu was sitting right there, and she did not even try to hide her reaction. The eye roll came fast, and then 5 words. That really needed to be mentioned. Flat, dry, absolutely devastating. Ionescu didn't raise her voice or go on a rant. She just made it very clear that what Plum said was petty and unnecessary. And everybody watching at home felt exactly the same way. That eye roll got clipped and shared more than anything else from the entire weekend.
Sabrina Ionescu did not like this shit, by the way.
And you can just see, even with the way Sabrina Ionescu's reacting, she's like, "What did you just say?"
And right in front of Sabrina Ionescu, right there, right next to her, you have no shame. This woman is just trashy, dog. Like, Kelsey Plum is trashy, bro. That's the reason why Darren Waller left her. Smart man, by the way, because his salary was pretty nice when he signed with the Giants.
And then Clark responded. Not with a press conference, not with an angry post. She hit back with a Nike ad quip that basically said she's too busy building her brand to worry about who's keeping tabs on her at team meetings. Clean, professional, it landed perfectly. So look at what you've got here. Plum used a union platform to take a shot at a teammate. Clark used that same moment to remind everyone why she has a Nike deal, and Plum is out here counting heads at t-shirt meetings. That contrast is the whole story right there in one exchange.
These women are insufferable. They don't deserve more money. They don't get any ratings outside of Caitlin Clark. They openly disrespect her. They don't deserve Caitlin Clark. They don't deserve attention. They don't deserve a league.
Caitlin Clark, I want her to clap back so bad. She needs to clap back, man. Stop being nice. Stop doing people favors. Stop trying to help a sister out. Stop doing all that stuff, bro. These are some ungrateful hyenas.
Here's where it gets interesting, though. Ionescu backing Clark wasn't just a personal thing. Ionescu is one of the most respected players in the league. When she rolls her eyes at Plum on live TV and says what she said, that's a signal. It's her telling everyone watching that Plum's move was out of line, and that the players actually growing this sport aren't the ones policing who showed up to what meeting. Clark was already moving on before the clip even finished loading.
part of me just does wish you would be like, look, man, I'm tired of y'all disrespecting. I'm tired of y'all hating and taking shots. Go figure this out on your own. Let me see y'all get a deal done without me, without my numbers, without my fans who y'all all claim was racist. Y'all called all of her fans racist, but you want to use the numbers supported by those same racist fans. You want to use those numbers to try to get more money.
The t-shirt drama was just the surface. Underneath it, the players' union was running a negotiation strategy that completely fell apart the moment anyone actually looked at the numbers. Here's where it gets interesting. The union's whole public message was simple. The owners haven't put a real offer on the table. That's what they told the press. That's what they posted. That's what they wanted fans to believe. And for a minute, it worked. People felt bad for the players. The sympathy was real.
Taking a shot like this at the player that's the only reason you're in a position to ask for more money is crazy. And that's a fact.
Them relying so heavily on Caitlin Clark, one player, to generate their money, it's going to take some time, man, to get y'all those $200, $300 million contracts, bro. It just is. This isn't like a one and done thing that's going to take, you know what I'm saying, a year or two. Y'all got to show proven years of winning. And the way y'all attacking Caitlin Clark, beating her up, battering her, I don't know what the future even look like for y'all with viewership and entertainment.
Except the offer was real too. The owners had something on the table the whole time. A potential max salary close to $1.3 million in year one, with projections pushing up to $2.4 million by 2031 if revenue growth hit the targets. Average salaries potentially crossing $1 million. That's not nothing. That's a serious offer, and the union knew it. They just figured we rejected $1 million offer doesn't hit the same way as there's no offer at all. So they went with the version that sounded better. Not the one that was true, just the one that got more sympathy online.
Let's be serious here. Caitlin Clark is the one bringing in the numbers. We watched the ticket prices drop 50% when Caitlin Clark was announced that she will not be participating due to her injury. The ticket prices dropped by 50% for an all-star game. That should tell y'all other players, you're not as popping as you think you are. I'm sorry.
And then it got worse. The union set up a face-to-face meeting with the owners. The kind of sit-down that's supposed to show you're serious, that you actually want to get something done. Kelsey Plum and Nafisa Collier, two of the lead negotiators, didn't show up. They just didn't go. The Players Union Executive Committee, the people actually in the room working through this stuff, voiced frustration publicly about how the whole thing was being handled. So this wasn't a scheduling mix-up. People inside the process were frustrated too.
And how did we get here? How did we get to an all-star game in Indiana where Caitlin Clark is not healthy enough to play? Well, it all started last year in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
But that's not all. Let's talk about the conflict of interest sitting right in the middle of all this. Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart are co-founders of Unrivaled, which is a rival league to the WNBA. They have a direct financial reason to want an alternative to the WNBA to succeed. And these are also the people sitting at the table negotiating the WNBA's labor deal. That's not a small detail you put in a footnote. That's a massive problem that nobody in the union seemed to want to talk about. And then the union made another move. They banned any contact between players and team owners or the teams themselves during negotiations. So now, players can't even have a normal conversation with the organizations they actually play for. That's not a bargaining tactic. That's just a lockdown.
I mean, you're going to mess around and a large, massive group of fans are going to be like, enough is enough. We've never had to see anything like it in sports, but you don't see these other leagues going around talking crazy about their fan bases all the time like this league does. It's continuous. They're running their mouth about the people that are paying money to see them. You don't have other jobs where people walk up. You're in a public job that's in front of the world.
Fans noticed, media noticed, the players who stand to gain the most from a new deal, the younger ones, the ones without the big brand deals and the side businesses, were being led by people who had real reasons to want the WNBA's momentum to slow down. The trash negotiations label started spreading online fast, and honestly, it's hard to argue with it. When the sports media world piles on, something real happened. And after Plum's all-star comments and the CBA mess, the pile-on came fast and loud. Colin Cowherd didn't dance around it. He called Plum's comments a misstep after misstep and said going after Clark was like attacking the golden goose. And Cowherd had a way of putting it that really landed. He said before Clark showed up, the WNBA was like one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. Now, the players are flying private. So maybe, he said, it's time to grow up, girls, like fast. That's not a subtle message. That's Cowherd telling Plum directly that she's blowing a good thing.
But why do you take a shot at the golden goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a Four Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
Dave Portnoy went further. He called Plum dumb, not misguided, not poorly advised, dumb. He shared the clip and said, yes, players can be morons like Kelsey Plum and still deserve more money. Portnoy isn't someone who covers the WNBA every week. So the fact that he was even talking about Kelsey Plum tells you something. Clark's star power has pushed this league so far into the national conversation that Plum's hall monitor moment became a story for audiences that had never watched a single WNBA game.
I don't mind the t-shirts. I think you have leverage. I think you deserve more than 9%. But it's just misstep after misstep. It's time to grow up, girls, like fast. Like this is the player that got you off the airline that was bright yellow. Right? She got you an upgrade to a better hotel as a band member.
Here's where it gets interesting. The veteran faction keeps acting like they built all of this, like the growth is theirs, and Clark just showed up to collect. But the numbers don't back that up at all. When Clark wasn't at the 2025 All-Star Game, ticket prices dropped more than 50%. More than half. Analysts actually tracked that. Games with Clark in them have pulled the highest TV ratings in WNBA history. Merchandise, attendance, broadcast deals, all of it moved when she arrived. So when Plum wants to count heads at a t-shirt meeting, maybe she should spend a little more time looking at those numbers first.
I think they deserve a big raise, maybe not 50% of revenues, because NBA stars, there's a lot of them, and they move the needle. The WNBA stars, well, there's one that moves the needle. And here's the other thing to remember. Caitlin Clark's already rich. She made $11 million this year alone in endorsements off the court. So regardless of how these negotiations go, she's set. Nobody else is, right? So when somebody joins the band and everything gets upgraded, just be happy.
The fan reaction online was even sharper than the media coverage. Comment sections, social media replies, chants at the All-Star Game itself, it was overwhelmingly pro-Clark and it wasn't close. And here's what made it different. These weren't passive fans. These were people invested enough to have actual opinions about CBA negotiations. People who buy tickets, watch the broadcasts, and now push back hard when they think something is wrong with how the league is being run. But that's not all. The old guard spent 2 seasons calling these people fake fans. Not real basketball fans. Like the surge in interest was some kind of problem to manage instead of the best thing to happen to women's basketball in a long time. They looked at a packed arena full of new fans and decided the right move was to be annoyed about it. So those fake fans turned Plum's tattletale comment into a viral moment and made Ionescu's eye roll a cultural reference point.
I know you wanted your song to be the first one they played. You wanted to make up the set. I mean, it's not the t-shirts. You're going to do fine. I'd scale back on the Caitlin Clark angst.
So while Plum was busy skipping meetings and going viral for all the wrong reasons, Clark was on NBC Live in front of a national audience, sitting next to Carmelo Anthony, Reggie Miller, and Maria Taylor for the Lakers versus Knicks game at Madison Square Garden. And she looked like she'd been doing it for years. This wasn't a celebrity cameo. She wasn't just there to smile and say nice things. She talked about the game like someone who actually studies it, who watches film, who knows what she's looking at. The panel treated her like a peer because she showed up like one.
The growth of the league has been so much. I mean, can you just help us to understand the transition this league is going on right now?
I mean, it's incredible. And I remember my first WNBA game when I was a young girl. I went to the Minnesota Lynx when they had their dynasty with Maya Moore and they were playing the Seattle Storm. And now basically any arena you go to, it's sold out. We're adding 2 teams. We're up to 14 now and then hopefully getting to 18 in the next couple years. So, business is booming and that's a really good thing. And we kind of just got to keep meeting the moment. The talent's getting better and better. You see it at the college level coming into the professional game too. So I feel very fortunate and hopefully I have a long career ahead of me as well.
Well, just know.
And then someone asked her about the CBA. And here's where it gets interesting, because she didn't dodge it. She didn't use it to take shots at the union or play victim or make it about herself. She said, honestly, I don't think it's just a big moment for the WNBA. I think for all women's sports, this is one of the biggest moments we've had. I feel very confident that we're going to achieve something. And then she went further. I really believe we're going to achieve something here in the next few weeks. Picture this on one side of the screen. Union lead negotiators skipping face-to-face meetings, putting out statements that didn't match the facts, banning players from talking to their own teams. And on the other side, Clark on NBC telling the whole country she believes a deal gets done. That's not just good PR, that's what leadership actually looks like.
It's a different type of buzz, and obviously when LeBron comes to town, it's probably really different, but, Knicks fans are crazy, and I love it. I love people that are passionate about basketball, so it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, you kind of know them inside and out a little bit, Reggie. You've stolen their souls and their hearts with the Knicks fans. You see it? You see how he's kind of like smug?
But listen, there's a new shooter from Indiana. See, I'm the third best shooter in the state of Indiana now. Okay. It goes Caitlin, Tyrese, and now myself.
We'll have to get Tyrese's opinion on that. I'm not sure.
But that's not all. The NBC role itself is bigger than one segment. Clark's brand has moved way beyond the court now. She has an 8-year, $28 million Nike deal. She's sitting on national panels talking NBA basketball. She has a platform that none of the union leadership comes close to touching. And that platform matters because it shapes what casual fans think about the WNBA. And the players around her, Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, they're watching all of this. These are players who want a deal done because they need one. They're not running rival leagues. They don't have side businesses that benefit from the WNBA stalling out. They just want to play and get paid fairly. And right now, Clark is the one making the loudest case that the league is worth investing in.
Appreciate you just joining us on Basketball Night in America.
It was fun. Appreciate it.
You
now
guys
I get to enjoy this. I mean, what's better, MSG Sunday night?
You can put your slippers
LeBron
back on if you
James,
want. Let's go.
Play too.
And guess what? Hey,
I get destroyed, Mello.
She's not going to put the mic down forever. March 29th, she's back with us in OKC, but now she gets to go and enjoy the Knicks games, and we're happy for her.
Every time she shows up professionally, every time she handles a tough question without making it a whole thing, every time she drops a 6-word comment on Plum's Instagram, "Thank you for the Nike ad," and walks away clean, she's showing everyone what the next chapter of this league looks like. The veteran spent 2 seasons trying to push her out of the story. All they did was make her harder to ignore. Let's talk about what actually happens when this CBA gets done. Because the people who spent 2 years trying to slow Clark down have basically already lost, and the numbers show exactly why.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league. besides Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston. She's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls. But then when it's the Indiana Fever, guess what? Touch foul here, touch foul here. They call absolutely nothing.
A completed deal unlocks expansion, free agency, and a revenue model that could push average salaries toward $1 million by 2031. Right now, the average WNBA salary sits around $120,000, and the max is $249,000. The owner's offer pushes that max close to $1.3 million in year one, with a path to $2.4 million by 2031 if revenue hits the targets. That's not just better money for the stars, that's real money for every player on every roster. Here's where it gets interesting. That framework isn't built on a guess. It's built on growth that's already happening, growth that Clark is directly driving. Ticket sales, broadcast ratings, merchandise, all of it moved when she showed up. The owners looked at those numbers and built a salary structure around continuing that trend. So when the union calls it a lowball offer, they're basically arguing against the math that makes their own raises possible.
A slap in the face, you say. Our offers aren't good enough, you claim. We didn't come to the table with anything of substance, you said. The WNBA owners are playing chess while the players are playing checkers.
It turns out that Nneka Ogwumike is a liar. There was a WNBA proposal at that meeting, and this is what it is.
The union's counter, 30% of gross revenue and a $10.5 million salary cap, sounds aggressive until you remember the league's business fundamentals are still catching up to the hype. The WNBA is growing fast, but it's not NBA fast yet. Demanding NBA-level revenue splits right now, before the infrastructure is fully there, risks slowing down the exact growth that makes bigger salaries possible later. But that's not all. The expansion teams, Portland and Toronto, are sitting in limbo because the CBA isn't done. The expansion draft can't happen. Planning for 2026 is stalled. And if veterans keep skipping meetings and putting out statements that don't match the facts, the 2026 season itself is at risk. A delayed schedule or a work stoppage doesn't hurt Clark. She has NBC, she has Nike, she has an 8-year, $28 million deal that doesn't care whether the WNBA tips off in May or August. It hurts the players who don't have any of that.
Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits.
Career you choose, you should probably look at what the career earnings are of going into that field. What I'll also say is this: every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
And that's the part nobody in the union leadership wants to say out loud. They framed this whole negotiation as a fight for player rights, but the players most at risk if this falls apart are the younger ones, the ones without the brand deals, the ones who aren't co-founding rival leagues on the side, the ones who just need the season to happen so they can get paid. Clark is the reason a deal gets done. Not because she's at the table, but because she's the proof that the investment is worth making. Every sponsor, every broadcaster, every owner eyeing expansion knows the league with Clark in it is a completely different product. The Fever in 2026, healthy, with a new CBA locked in, building on everything Clark has already started, that's not wishful thinking. So here's where everything landed. Kelsey Plum tattletaled on live TV. She skipped the meeting she helped organize. She negotiated the WNBA's future while co-running a rival league. And somehow, she thought none of that would come out. It all came out. Clark went on NBC, sat next to Carmelo Anthony at Madison Square Garden, and told the whole country, "I truly do believe we're going to get something done here in the next couple of weeks." Then she went back to work. The season starts May 8th, 2026. The deal is coming, and Clark will be ready. Let me know down in the comments below why you think Kelsey Plum is so jealous of Caitlin. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.